Hello, Para here from Team Paradox. Today I'm going to be doing a deck profile for my Angel Chaos. So let's get right into it. As you can tell, we're going to be playing Scapegoat and Thousand Eyes Restrict in this deck, which is an intricate part of this deck and very important. So put those to the side. Let's begin with the monsters. Firstly, we play Blackluster Soldier, Chaos Sorcerer for our Chaos monsters. I think 2 Chaos Sorcerer is appropriate considering the speed of this deck. I play 3 Shining Angels. This is what gives this deck its name. Instead of playing Thunder Dragon Chaos, we're playing Angel Chaos. And this is the reason why. So it's a little bit slower than Thunder Dragon Chaos, but it controls the pace of the game a little bit better in my opinion. So it has a different matchup spread against Warrior, Chaos Control, and things like that. For cards that we can search with Shining Angel, we have 2 Magician of Faith and a DD Warrior Lady. Magician of Faith, particularly good in this deck because you are essentially playing a goat control build of this deck with Shining Angel, and you can special summon this out if you have Metamorphosis and you need to activate it for whatever reason. So, and obviously Magician of Faith is just a good card in general. And you could reset Magician of Faith with Tsukuyomi, Book of Moon, whatever you have available to you. And DD Warrior Lady is just a good out. Play Sangan. And 4 cards that can be searched with Sangan, play Tsukuyomi, 2 Tsukuyomi. And then play 1 and 2 Dekoichi. So Tsukuyomi, well, like I said before, help you reset your own monsters, help you flip problematic monsters face down that your opponent may have, whether it's a warrior deck that you're playing and you need to flip them face down so you can run over them, or whether it's a lockdown deck you're playing and you need to flip it face down so it can stop using its effects, or if you're playing against the mirror match and you need to set Thousand Eyes Restrict face down so you can run over them, whatever it may be, this card can be really, really good. And I think it's good enough to validate it at 2 in this deck, at least in this build. And Dekoichi just helps you kind of keep a hand. We also play 1 Sinister Serpent. Sinister Serpent obviously speaks for itself in most ways. Anyone who plays this game for any kind of time knows this card is good. Keeps your hand safe from Delinquent Duo and other cards like that. Also can just be a card you set continuously. You can either bait Nobleman of Crossout with it, or once your opponent knows you have it in your hand, they may or may not activate my Nobleman of Crossout. Obviously you can meta it, so very good card. Play 3 Kycoo and 1 Breaker the Magical War for the last of the monsters. Kycoo just helps you mitigate other chaos decks. Obviously it's really good. You can just rip their lights and their darks from the grave and prevent them from special summoning by removing monsters from the grave from play. And Breaker has the potential of being a +1 as long as they activate something and chain to it, like a Jar of Greed or something. But at the very least, as long as it's not a Jar of Greed or something, even if they have to activate something they don't want to activate at that time, it can be really good for you, and he's strong. So that's it for the monsters. We'll move on to the traps. So a common trend nowadays is to play Royal Decree in Goat Control light decks, and I do think that's a good trend for the deck. In this deck, it's particularly good in my opinion, because unlike in Thunder Dragon Chaos, where a benefit of playing Thunder Dragon Chaos is to have the synergy with Raigeki Break and Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, and you can't use those cards when this is active. You don't have that problem in this deck because you're not playing Thunder Dragons, so you're playing Shining Angels instead, so you can still use your cards. They're not dead in your hand. So, and then obviously this card's good against Bird, good against Warrior. It's just a really good card, particularly in this deck. So outside of those 3 traps, we do play 2 more traps, and that's Mirror Force and Ring of Destruction. You don't play Torrential Tribute, although I can see playing Torrential Tribute, but if you're playing this type of deck, you need to be mindful to not lock yourself out of your field, because you're not playing any tribute monsters, and you kind of want to activate Scapegoat sparingly. Maybe you don't even activate it if you don't need to, but activate it if they're getting rushed down, you're getting beat down, whatever. As long as you know Scapegoats are going to not be on the field, like too many of them on the field. So And moving on to the spells, play 3 obvious cards, just really good cards. Play 2 Metamorphosis and then 1 creature swap. I think 3 Metamorphoses can be a bit bricky sometimes. Mostly you're going to be making Thousand Eyes Restrict in this deck, and you don't always need him on the field. You don't always want to summon him no matter what, and sometimes it's just beneficial to use creature swap if you have Scapegoats or if you have a Sinister Serpent, Sangan, Shining Angel. There are many reasons why this card can be really good. Just something to note is if you play creature swap, they can chain Scapegoats, and that will screw up your whole strategy. Speaking of Scapegoats, I played 2 of them. Scapegoat's just a really good card against Warrior. Can be really bad against, say, Panda Burn, things like that. Even potentially, in the Goat Control matchup, it may not be as useful because they just aren't going to be as aggressive, so you might have time just to get your other monsters out too. Unlike most Goat Control decks, you don't solely depend on Sinister Serpent to get to your hand to be able to use Thousand Eyes Restrict. You have other cards. But Scapegoat is definitely a must in this deck in some capacity. If you play the right matchup, you might want to side in another one or even side one out. So moving on, play 3 Book of Moon. This card is very versatile. You can use it for offense and defense. You can flip problematic monsters face down, run over them, or flip them face down to get rid of their effects temporarily, or special summon a Magician of Faith with a Shining Angel, and then flip it face down, and then let them run into it, and then activate its effect. Whatever you need. So, very useful card. Play 2 Nobleman of Crossout, which works well with a 3 Book of Moon and a 2 Tsukuyomi. So this card is not dead in your hand almost ever. It's almost always a good card to have in your hand. If you don't have something to use it yet, you will eventually, and just the sheer amount of cards that people set anyway. 2 equip cards, Premature Burial and Snatch Steal, just really good cards. Premature Burial instead of Call the Haunted, just because of the Royal Decrees. We don't play Call the Haunted in here. And this is just good to bring back your Chaos monsters if they die, or if you need a Magician of Faith to meta or something like that. There are many reasons why this card can be really good. And Snatch Steal is just a really good card. You can take their monster and meta it to something else, and very good. And the last spell is Heavy Storm. So, and I don't play Mystical Space Typhoon in here because I have 3 Royal Decree, so it's not really necessary to play Mystical Space Typhoon. This card is just kind of better in that regard. Just serves a similar purpose in a way, and just better in that regard. You would want to sign in Mystical Space Typhoon if you play against decks that are maybe like Burn or have a lot of stall cards, Swords of Revealing Light, Level Limit, Area B. Those cards can be really annoying to get around because we don't have any Regeki breaks or anything to get rid of that, so you might want to side that in. I don't have a side deck prepared for this, but we can discuss very briefly kind of how I would side. I think in general, this deck has a good matchup against Burn because of the Royal Decrees, good matchup against Warrior because of Scapegoats and Shining Angels, and you're not over dependency on flip monsters. I just think it's a really good deck and potentially one of the better decks in this format, in this current format, I should say. So I really like this deck. Please give it a try if you like it as well, and let us know down in the comments how you fare with it. So if you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below for anything you may want to see in the future. So thanks for watching. I'll see you later.